back in 1999, I got married to my wife, Jennifer, and at our wedding reception, you have the mother-son dance. And my mother and I danced to Louis Armstrong's What a Wonderful World, which is one of her favorite songs. And years later, she told me that that was the first day that she started feeling like something wasn't right with her body. Like her foot just wasn't working. I think it was her right foot, just wasn't working right. And she didn't pay much attention to it at the time, but then over the years, she was just gradually losing mobility, and they couldn't really figure out why. They were looking at all kinds of things like MS or muscular dystrophy, all sorts of things. It got to the point where by 2006, she also had celiac disease undiagnosed, and she wound up breaking both of her legs that year. And after 2006, she just wasn't walking again because her body didn't have the strength to do it. Well, come to find out, after 10 years or so, that she did get diagnosed down at Johns Hopkins with ALS. It's one of those diseases, Lou Gehrig's disease is one of those conditions that you have to kind of rule everything else out before you know if that's what you have. So she got diagnosed in 2012. By that point, she wasn't walking. She was losing a little more mobility in her upper body as well. ALS is one of those diseases that can kind of affect different people in different ways. Some people lose their voice first. Some people, it shows up in their hands first. They start not being able to, hold a fork or spoon or to be able to write, things like that. In her case, it basically went from the bottom up. It went from her feet all the way up. So 2012, she was officially diagnosed, and from that point on, it kind of became a thing with our family, like, well, we've got to figure out a way to, not just for her, but to help people who have this condition. At the time, there was no ice bucket challenge. If people knew it at all, they knew it either from Lou Gehrig or Stephen Hawking. That was about the only two people that were famous or that people knew that had it, although people like Chairman Mao of China actually had ALS when he died. So over the course of that year, Jennifer, my wife, and I kind of brainstormed, well, what could we do? We're involved in the local arts community. Let's do something like an annual fundraiser, like a variety show kind of thing. And we didn't do much with that until after my mom passed away, right after New Year's in 2013. And that summer, we directed, I did direct my first kids show, The Little Mermaid, for Front and Center Stage. And after we did that, we realized, well, why don't we just start our own youth theater company? And we can use the funds that we make from that to donate to the ALS Association. And that way, not only are we doing our part, but we're showing young people and their families a good way to get involved and to not just have fun with theater, but they can see, oh, what I'm doing might help somebody get a power wheelchair or provide some sort of like a light board for them to communicate and that kind of thing. So that was always very important. My mom was a teacher, and she was always very involved with her students. She taught mostly elementary school, like third grade. That was kind of her wheelhouse. And so she was one of the best teachers that ever existed, and I'm not just being biased on that. Anybody who met her will tell you that. So it was always very important for us to get involved with youth because that was so much of her focus in life. And now here we are almost 3 years later. We had our first show in May 2014. We just wrapped our 6th show, The King and I, our first full-length musical. And we got a lot of bigger and better plans. We're here in this Queen City Playhouse space now. We've got our own rehearsal space and performance venue, and we're thinking even bigger than that in the future. So that's kind of what has brought us to this point here.